Hi everyone, the next topic is if statements. So we have two examples. The first, the if statement, and next, if else statement. Okay, so example one, that when an integer n is given, we want to print congratulations on screen if and only if n is divisible by 9. Okay, so the divisible by 9, this logical operation is done by the double percentage sign. So for example, if we want to check if 15 is divisible by 4, and actually it returns 3. So this returns the remainder when we divide 15 by 4. So if this is 0, that means the 15 is divisible by 4. Okay, so our condition is n is divisible by 9. So so n is set. If n is divisible by 9 and double percentage 9 is equal to 0, then print congratulations. So here the equal should be double. So single equal is used to define something, but here we do logical operation. So remember that we have to use the double equal. Then print function just print this letter on screen in our console. So n is not divisible by 9, so r does not return anything. But if n is 18, that is divisible by 9, so it returns congratulations. So this is the first example. So if some condition is satisfied, do something. So that's relatively simpler. Example 2, if else statement. So when a number x is given, let y be 0 if x is negative, and let y be 1 if x is non-negative. So if x is positive, then we want to get y is equal to 1. So x is positive, so we want to get y is equal to 1, but it can be done by the if else statement. If x is negative, then we define y as 0, else y is equal to 1. Then y becomes 1 because x is positive. If we give a negative number, x is negative 0.5, then we do the same. We run the same code, then y becomes 0 because x is negative. So this statement should be run. So y becomes 0. And the one thing we have to be careful is that everything is in one line, especially the before else. We shouldn't change the line. If we change the line, I'll just run this code. X is less than 0, then we define y as 0. Then statement finishes, so it returns an error. So else should be in the same line as just this statement. Okay, so this is how to use if statements and if else statements. Hi, here's another example of if statements. This is a little more complicated. When a number x is given, we define the y as 1, z as 2 if x is between negative 10 and positive 10. And we define y as 0 and z as negative 2 otherwise. So we want to make a statement. We want to code this in R. So we have condition x is between negative 10 and the positive 10. But this consists of the two conditions. So x is at first the larger or equal to negative 10 and smaller than equal to 10. So we have two conditions. So we have to combine these two conditions. Okay, so suppose x is given, x is negative 12, and we will check at first whether or not x is larger than or equal to negative 10 and x is smaller than or equal to 10. If both conditions are satisfied, so we connect this with AND, then we define y is equal to 1, z is equal to 2. Otherwise, we define y is 0, z is negative 2. So this code basically replicates this statement. So the result is y is 0, z is -2. So we have to be careful that when we change lines, so here, the after parenthesis, okay, so we have if statement here, then we have the brace. So if statement is satisfied, this condition is satisfied, we run this highlighted code. But if we finish this, then basically after this is ignored. So usually we should put else in the same line as this brace. But if we want to put else in the next line because of beautification, then we have to put this another brace before if statement, so that if statement that have not been finished. Then finally that we put the brace here. Then we can run this without any error. So this is the last example of if statement.